This is Zadar, one of the oldest cities with a history spanning over 3,000 years. Biggest European empires, various nations and important historical events created this beautiful city on a peninsula in the Adriatic Sea.
With its rich heritage, crystal clear sea, nice beaches and stunning surrounding islands, Zadar is one of the most popular Croatian coastal cities, and I can't wait to show you the best things to do in Zadar, Croatia.
Zadar Old Town used to be separated from the mainland by a deep moat. Old Town is still partially surrounded by the city walls that are part of UNESCO World Heritage.
Best place to start exploring Zadar is on the top of the city walls. Current walls originate to the 12th and 13th centuries when Zadar was part of Kingdom of Croatia. But in the 1400s, when Venetians took over the city, they've massively enhanced defensive system. Zadar became the biggest city fortress in the Venetian Republic, and no army could ever conquer these walls.
But citizens of Zadar were not happy with the authorities of Venetian Republic, as they held 11 uprisings, and the official name of the walls is Walls of Zadar Uprisings. With the fall of Venice at the end of the 18th century, Zadar became part of the Austrian Empire. After the First World War, the city became part of Italy, and as such it was heavily bombed by the Allies during the Second World War.
Heavy bombing destroyed many ancient buildings, but the walls are still standing. After the war, Zadar became part of Communist Yugoslavia and its Republic of Croatia. The city was rebuilt and got its unique mixture of ancient and communist architecture.
The walls are now beloved promenade offering beautiful views. They still have 5 city gates, and the biggest and the most beautiful ones are called land gates. They were connecting the peninsula with the mainland. Gates were built in the 1500s next to the picturesque Foča harbor and are marked by a winged lion of St. Mark, the symbol of Venetian Republic that built it.
But most visitors enter the old town through bridge gates, as they stand right in front of a pedestrian bridge that connects the historic town on a peninsula with the modern part of the city.
Bridge gates, officially called New Gates, leads to a beautiful main square, the heart of the city since the medieval times. Here are some of the most important buildings and cafes that spread their tables around.
One of the historical buildings is the city sentinel built by the Venetians in the 1500s. It has a distinct clock tower that has been telling time uninterruptedly since 1803, and on its top are 2 bells.
Next to the Sentinel is a house with an elegant Louvre cafe. Interestingly, you can walk through this cafe to get to the remains of an old church from the 1200s dedicated to Saint Louvre, hence the name of the cafe.
Next to the cafe is current town hall from 1930s built by Italians, as between the world wars Zadar was part of Italy. It's worth mentioning that just down the street from the town hall you can find useful tourist information center.
Opposite to the clock tower is the city loggia, rebuilt in the 1500s. It was used for various public services like the courthouse, council chambers and library. It was heavily damaged during the Second World War, and after renovation serves as an exhibition space.
Most of the old town is a pedestrian-only area, and from People's Square you can walk in all 4 directions. Along the edge of the square runs the main street known as Kalelarga that connects all major squares and is even older than the city itself.
Kalelarga is the main meeting point and the symbol of the city. It was used by the Romans as the main longitudinal street, but its history goes even further. Romans simply used pre-existing street built by the Illyrian tribes, who had a strong settlement on this peninsula long before the Romans. White marble stone street is a backbone of the old town, as it connects the most important squares and is full of shops, great gelato places, bars and restaurants. Towards southeast, Kalelarga ends with 2 beautiful connected squares.
First Square offers a beautiful atmosphere with nice cafes and restaurants. For centuries, this was the entrance to the walled city, as on the square are the remains of the Roman town gate that stood here until the Middle Ages.
Here is the octagonal base of the Roman tower that once flanked the gateway. Under the glass you can observe other Roman remains, but the most impressive is a self-standing Roman column that was moved here from other Zadar Square in the 1700s, where it was part of the demolished Roman temple.
Sqaure is named after a famous Croatian Renaissance writer and poet from Zadar, Petar Zoranić.
On the edge of the square is a church of St. Simeon that is well worth the look. On its main altar sits one of the greatest masterpieces of medieval goldsmith's craft, a silver casket from the 1300s with the relics of St. Simeon, one of the 4 patrons of Zadar. Petar Zoranić Square is connected to a neighboring 5-well square, creating a beautiful open space.
Sqaure with 5 wells was built by the Venetians as a large water cistern. They covered the old defensive moat and replaced it with a large cistern for drinking water. On its top, they put 5 decorated wellheads that are no longer in use.
Sqaure is encircled by a defensive medieval wall and a pentagonal tower built by the Venetians in the 1500s to strengthen the city against Ottoman attacks. You can climb to the top and get beautiful views. On the other side, the square is surrounded by a wall of a bastion, and on its top is the first public park in Croatia, created by the Austrians in the 1800s.
Beautiful squares filled with cafes and tables are a perfect place for an elegant liquor drink produced in Zadar called Maraschino. It's made from marasca cherries, a small and slightly sour fruit which grows wild along the Dalmatian coast. In the 1700s, when Zadar was part of the Venetian Republic, a Venetian merchant began industrial-scale production of this alcohol drink. Zadar liqueur quickly gained widespread fame and became popular with the European elite. The drink was so popular that apparently British warships were sent from bases in Corfu and Malta to pick up shipments of maraschino for British royalty. After the Second World War, liqueur lost its popularity, but is now regaining its fame as a special ingredient in cocktails. You can buy a bottle in certain souvenir shops and even in local supermarkets.
The most popular public space in Zadar is the Riva seafront promenade.
Unfortunately for me, the entire Riva is under construction, but luckily for you, it will be finished and brand new by the time you visit Zadar. Until the late 1800s, this space was occupied by fortifications as Zadar was a fortress city. With the Austrian Empire taking control, city walls facing the sea were demolished and Zadar was no longer a fortress city.
Newly created space was used as a promenade for building a dock for passenger boats, parks and luxurious palaces. Pleasant stroll along the waterfront offers beautiful views of the neighboring Ugljan and Pashman islands. And if you walk to the northern end of the Riva, you can hear music from one of the biggest musical instruments.
This set of white marble stairs plays music, but it is also one of the best spots to enjoy beautiful sunsets. Stairs are part of the most popular art installation in Croatia. Underneath is a huge musical instrument called sea organ made of 35 pipes with whistles built in. The air from the sea waves is pushed through the pipes, making unusual sound that comes out through the apertures in the stairs. And that is how sea plays this organic and absolutely mesmerizing music. Next to the sea organ is another unique modern attraction, Greeting to the Sun, made by the same architect. Huge glass circle has built-in solar panels. After the sunset, stored energy is used for unique light show experience. Both installations are connected, which allows to convert the sound of the organ to different lighting effects.
In summer, you surely don't want to miss a swim in the Adriatic. One of the cleanest seas gets nice and warm from the mid-June to the end of September, when you should definitely visit one of Zadar beaches.
Favorite spot for citizens of Zadar is this Kolovare Beach in the city center. The beach is pebbly with paved areas, and above it there are a few pine trees that provide nice shade. If you're in the old town, you can get here on foot, as this beach is only a few minutes southwards from the land gates.
In summer, this becomes a lively beach with bars, cafes, beach volley and even a water polo. You can rent equipment for numerous sports, deck chairs and beach umbrellas. Despite its central location, it is awarded with a blue flag, a symbol of quality and purity of the sea. About 4 kilometers north from the old town is a hotel resort and a camping area with a popular public Borik Beach. Mostly a pebble beach with concrete slabs and wooden piers, is also awarded with a blue flag. Beach has many amenities, a shallow entrance to the sea and the natural shade created by pine trees, and is a popular place for family vacations. Just a half-an-hour drive north of Zadar is a beautiful natural and unspoiled Nin's Lagoon. This is home of the historic town of Nin and includes several kilometers of sandy beaches, secluded caves and shallow warm water. The beach is also rich with healing mud that helps cure various diseases. The amenities include outdoor showers, public toilets, changing rooms, and you can even rent deck chairs and beach umbrellas.
But the very best swimming spots can be found on nearby islands. They are accessible by boat from various agencies offering all kinds of one-day excursions. But the one to book is a day trip to spectacular archipelago of Kornati National Park.
Zadar archipelago is made up of 147 islands, and its most spectacular part is Kornati National Park. On the stretch of 35 kilometers or 22 miles are 109 islands riddled with cracks, caves and rugged cliffs. These once lush islands used to be home of many Roman villas and farms, but a lack of fresh water and exploitation under Venetian rule left them desolate and uninhabited. The park is popular with yachts and tour boats drawn by the park's unique beauty. Numerous secluded caves and bays feature different beaches perfect for swimming and snorkeling, and a day trip to these islands is one of the best summer experiences in Zadar. When returning from Kornati, you will see a self-standing bell tower of the cathedral already from the distance. You can climb its stairs and be rewarded by beautiful panoramas, but the real treasure is the cathedral.
There are many seriously old churches around here, but the most important and the largest one is the Cathedral of St. Anastasia. It blends a number of architectural periods as its origins date way back to the 5th century.
During the siege of Zadar by the Venetians in the 1200s, the cathedral was heavily damaged. Its reconstruction took over a century, until current three-nave building was completed in 1324. It remains to be the largest church in Dalmatia, with beautiful stone altars and impressive wood-carved choir. Church also treasures a marble sarcophagus with the relics of Saint Anastasia. Relics came here in the 9th century, and Saint Anastasia became one of 4 patron saints of Zadar.
If you wish to visit the interior, your shoulders and knees must be covered, while the church is closed to tourists on Sundays due to service. But before we jump to the best thing to do in Zadar, I would like to thank you for the thumbs up. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them in the comments below. And to be notified about my new travel videos, click on subscribe and turn on the notification bell.
Cathedral is located on the edge of the largest square in Zadar, known as Forum. It was built by the Romans and remained the main public area and a central market all the way until the Middle Ages, when People's Square took over its role. At the time of its full glory, the Forum was surrounded on 3 sides by a magnificent portico and a Roman temple. After a violent earthquake in the 6th century, the buildings were destroyed and its stones were reused as building material around the city.
Today, only the original pavement and stairs remain, as well as 2 monumental columns. I've already showed you the first one that was moved next to the 5-wall square. And this is the second one, still in its original place. After the Roman Forum was destroyed, it was used as a pillar of shame for centuries, where naughty people of Zadar were publicly chained.
Sqaure is a popular venue, a meeting place and an open-air museum where you can walk freely among the Roman remains and soak up the ancient atmosphere.
More than 1200 years ago, when Zadar was part of the Byzantine Empire, this impressive round church rose from the remains of the Roman Forum and became the symbol of the city. Church was built using Roman stones, pillars and other reused building blocks, and somehow managed to survive until this day. It is named after Bishop Donatus, who commissioned it and was buried inside, although his bones are now in the neighboring cathedral.
The church is no longer used for religious purposes, but rather for musical performances due to its extraordinary acoustic features.
Zadar has so much to offer that I haven't even mentioned interesting museums. On the Forum Square is Zadar Archaeological Museum, and next to it is a monastery with exhibition of gold and silver of Zadar. There is also a museum of ancient glass well worth visiting. For the best Zadar experience, check my list of my favorite Zadar tours in the description below. My name is Rock and I spent last 10 years traveling around Europe as a tour guide. Thanks for watching and see you next time.